All right, Stevie Peios, mate. Devastating loss for Tim Tszyu, mate. Your thoughts?
Yeah, Macca, we're all very, very sombre at the moment, mate. I think we're all devastated in terms of the result. It's disbelief, I think, in the venue for everybody that's come here, all of us, travelling Australian contingent. I don't think any of us expected it to be that bad. I think, we expected Tim to go into the fight and perhaps change his game plan a little bit. It looked similar to what we've seen from him in the past, which was a bit of a concern. I think it's something that was a struggle to watch. I feel like the slow start didn't help anyone. We're talking, a couple of minutes of real struggle in that first round, a couple of minutes of real struggle in that second round, and then he came back into the fight, Macca, in probably about round 4 or 5. I gave him a round or 2 around then, but it just felt like he couldn't get his legs back after the early knockdown, and then the rest is history after that.
Where does he go from here, mate? We saw Tszyu, finish on the stool against Ricky Hatton. It's going to be a long climb back up to the top for Tim Tszyu. Where does he go from here?
Yeah, look, Tim's a proud guy. The Tszyu family are proud people, and I think he's not going to be the type to I don't think he'll retire, but I don't think anything will happen in the immediate term, if that makes sense. I think, you're looking at probably a 6-month hiatus for Tim at the very least now, potentially moving up now to middleweight and eyeing out what that looks like to becoming a 2-time world champion. So it's not going to be an immediate decision, Macca, but there's so many questions I think that need to be asked about style of the fight, the way he fought that fight, his ability to, I guess, nullify the jab of a tall guy like Fundora, but whoever it is next, if it was, for example, like a Keith Thurman, for example, next, that would have been difficult. Keith Thurman was running around Macca and said, just after the fight, he goes, I would have beaten the shit out of Tim Tszyu anyway. So he's confident of what he saw, that he could beat him. So back to your question, though, I think he does come back. Just nothing will happen in the immediate future. I think there'd have to be some significant changes in terms of what happens next.
How much do you think those fights, the first Fundora fight, the Buckram fight, that blood loss in that first Fundora fight, how much of an impact do you think that had on Tim Tszyu? Because his legs look gone.
They did. You're spot on, and I want to make sure all your viewers know that you said after the fight that it seems like that PTSD played a factor in it. The result of what happened in that first Fundora fight, and then as a result of what happened, with the Buckram fight as well. There is that long-standing damage. I don't know how much it took out of him, but it was certainly a case of perhaps a real issue and concern with what happened to him and him being able to bounce back from that, not only physically, but mentally. And like you've said, how much did that blood loss play an issue? How much did just the factors of worrying about, his next opponents and being able to nullify, that jab from Fundora, how much that played into it, I think is an important one as well.
And also an important point, the experience of fighting here in America. Tim didn't come to America until his 20th fight, 19th fight.
Exactly, yeah, that's a good point. I mean, a few guys I know in Australia have said similar things about him, fighting in Australia. I don't think you can say for too long. I think they matched him well and basically got him set up to be where he needed to be. But then coming from Australia into America, I don't think there's a vast difference in, the type of arena or the noise and lights and energy. But there is a difference in terms of, I guess, that pure spotlight and focus of a country that has a massive boxing scene. So absolutely, I agree with you on that one. That's another big point there to raise and a difficult one.
Beauty. Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, mate. Thank you.